Winter is coming. I was going to say it's on its way, but it's already here. And I'll show you the problem that we've got. But how can we make our homes warmer for winter? How can I stop the heat that I'm paying for leaving the house with, you know, well, there's all sorts around the house. So I'm going to try and weatherproof the house. I'm going to try and stop the exodus of heat from our home. But I'm also fixing a couple of other bigger problems as well. So this is going to be a bit of a all-in vlog. Hello, I'm Neil. This is the Dad Delivers vlog where I try to make your family happy by trying something new every day. Oh, I'm going to try a few new things today. I don't want to do it. So I thought I'd start the camera, and this is going to be a really rambling video like the others aren't, but I've got a big problem over here. So this footage here is of our kitchen and living room being rebuilt from scratch, and they did an amazing job and we're really happy with it. Look at these doors, it's nice. This is what it used to look like. It felt like a toxic death trap, and now it looks like this, which obviously we're really happy and grateful for, but we had a small problem, and I think this problem was always here. The walls were always rotten, and whatever caused that problem isn't down here, it's somewhere else. But we've got water coming in here, and here, this is all brand new, and up here as well. So to get that fixed, we had some even more major work done down the side here, because the mortar, I keep calling it grouting, but the mortar between the bricks was in a really shocking state. So we had all of this wall just completely redone and completely remortared. I don't know if you can see, it's like really chunky. I think there's a word for it that builders use that I don't know, but it's where they use like 3 times the amount of cement or mortar between the bricks, and it kind of pushes the rain away, which is great because it really needed doing. This was in a shocking state, but I don't think it's what caused the problem, because the leaks that I just showed you were above the door there. So the water would have to go in and jump because there are 2 bricks worth of wall, if that makes sense, with a gap in the middle. They've done a fantastic job, but I don't think that's what caused the leak there. And despite the high-vis vest that I'm wearing, I'm not an expert at this, but I do know that water can't jump 10 centimeters to get to the other side. I think there's only one thing left for it, and I think what's caused it is higher up. I'm gonna have to zoom in. It's quite high up. I haven't got my glasses, but this is in a shocking state. It looks a bit moldy. But above it, the roof, we had the roof completely done. So the roof is brand new. That's not letting in water. It's definitely not letting in water. So somehow water is getting into the house, into that wall, between the roof and this wall. And that can only, by process of elimination, mean that it's this area here. And I think there's a culprit, because we only get water going in when it's really heavy rain and wind is blowing this way. So I think that the reason this looks like a state is because water's getting into that wall. Like right above it, this is my detective work, the leak is about here and above the door there. And right above it, there's an old bracket that held, what do you call it, like a guttering, rain gutter used to come down following that diagonal line. And then just there is it's like a bracket or a hole there. There's also holes here and another one up there. But I don't think they're the ones causing me problems, but I'll try and fill them in. That is the one I'm after, and that is what I'm going to target now. But this was never meant to be a DIY vlog. I know I'm supposed to be sharing, like, emotionally how I'm supporting our family, but I know I'm on my own doing DIY in these videos. I'm going to try and do less of these because, frankly, I'd like to do less DIY. But let's start the music. We'll start a DIY montage for yet another DIY video. Get this. Look, I've got a towel. Managed to hire a towel. Oh, there's Casper's down there. This wasn't so easy. I didn't know what I was doing when I was renting it. So the working height is actually, I think it's lower than the ladder, but at least I'm not standing. The ladder ended here and I'd be teetering on the edge if I were doing that. So at least I've got a nice kind of walkway, but it's way too, not tall, shorts, that's the word. And this is me using an extendable pole to paint the wall. Here's a close-up of the pole. It kind of works like this. You know how a pole works. And I'm pretty sure that the water is getting in there. It's just, you can't see it because there's like a lip, and I think it's cracked, and I think that's where the liquid goes in. So I'm really just soaking this with, it's like a sealant paint, really super expensive, £45 a tin. And it's a primer, sealer, stain killer. I've basically bought it solely on the graphics on the tin. So I've gone back to the hire company and asked for another tower to go on top of this one. I'm hoping that will double the height, which means I'll be able to actually see the lip itself. It's Saturday today, it doesn't get here till Tuesday. It's another £50, but I don't regret it because I'll be able to actually see the hole. Oh, by the way, I'm using this tiny roller because the big roller doesn't fit this stick. And I thought, do I want to take another 40-minute journey to the DIY store, or should I do it with a smaller one? And actually, I think the smaller one has worked out much better. This is ridiculous, but it actually works. I prefer it. Here's a nice mouldy area here. It's a few days later and the weather has turned to this. So let's see what it looks like. Whoa, I just tread in a puddle. So what I'm hoping is that the water that would have run down that crack and into that hole is now just being like run off. I'm hoping that the sealant paint has stopped the rain going into the wall. And over here you can see I've done as far as I could reach. I don't know if you can even tell, but it's basically where the mold isn't. Fortunately, it hasn't gone away. If anything, it might have got a little bit worse. Got like drips literally running from the light socket. It's just found a course to run, and it's along the probably the trunking for the light. Hello, it's the next day and I think I've had a bit of a breakthrough, or a block up, which is better. So the first thing is we've got a second tower which is right above my head. This is how big it looks like now. It is a beast, and it was not easy to put up. It's terrifying being up there. I'll take you up there in a moment. The other breakthrough was this. This is terrible. I know I have professional people watching these videos. Why they want to look up DIY videos after a hard day at work, I don't know, but it's really good to see you, and thanks for your comments. I got some regular filler, just some exterior filler, and I put it into these gaps where the brick meets the wall, kind of curves off, kind of tapers, and the rain runs down here. And what I think's been happening, and I think the solution, is I just put regular filler in, and it was a really big storm last night. So you can see that the filler's basically been washed out. But crucially, I didn't get any water inside the house yesterday. The patch is dry. So I think this might be the solution. I think the whole thing is to just fill up these holes, just that little gap there, it's just right above where the leak is. I think it's just this little gap here where rain falls off, gathers here, I think specifically it's here, and then runs to behind the wall. I'm at the top of the tower now, and this is the crack. This is what I thought was giving it a problem, but there's no problem there. It's completely sealed up, and I've painted over it. There's nothing there. So the painting that I did the other day is good. I don't think this is a problem. I think the problem is the water running down there and hitting a brick and going inside the wall. So what am I doing up here? But I want to get down. I really want to get down. I'm just going to paint that little crack there. I'm not that comfortable up this high, I don't think. So I'm at the top here, the very top of the roof, and I can't believe I'm here. I'm filming this on my phone. That's why it's shaking. I think there's like a stabilisation in there. It's so good to see it go. And finally, one last little job. Let's have a look at it. So I filled this up with filler, and I don't think that's right, even though it's external filler. So I've got a tube of pointing mortar. These are the 3 holes where all the damage has been made. It's either this one, or this one. and I'm just going to fill it with mortar. I've only got one hand, so I don't have to put the camera down, but I'm going to fill these with mortar now. I've got a little squeeze into the hole, and then I'll finish it off with my trowel, which is actually a wallpaper scraper, but I'll just push that into the hole, and hopefully this is it. This is the end of the water running into our house. I did it. I think it's done. I think it's finally done. I think this is finally watertight. It is exactly 2 weeks later. Let's go over to the wall and see the damage. We've had some really heavy rain. Oh, it's Christmas, by the way. But we've had some really heavy rain, and I'm hoping it comes across on camera quite how dry this is now. Let me just give it a rub. Look, all the damp has gone and the plaster has completely dried out. And on the original video, I didn't show this, but the damp was trickling down here as well, and where it's dried out, all the paint is now flaking off, which is it's a really good sign that it's now completely bone dry. So there, and down here as well. I guess I'll have to paint over what's there once it's completely dried out, aka put the job off for another another 2 months. Except the exact same problem is happening over here, and that's on a whole other video. But I've sorted out one of the 2 leaking problems. I am calling this a Dad Delivers success. Yes. Thank you for being awesome and hitting the thumbs up button and even the subscribe button. It really helps me. And right here is another video that YouTube knows you're gonna love.